This begins Calm 45, Section 83, Vlog Discussion 1. The first reading about fanfictions, I really like the first reading about fanfictions. To me, being a fan of something means that you simply like this piece of media. It's a very general term, but it can be applied in a variety of ways. Being a fan of anything means you like it. But I also like the point it brought up about fanfic writers being a more proactive part of the fan base, because it takes a certain amount of courage and willingness to basically come up with a what if scenario of a written media work. I've seen a lot of these examples in my daily life, especially on Twitter and sometimes Instagram. I follow a lot of like video games and a lot of gacha games, and I very regularly see people post their own comics, their own fan fictions, even like alternative universes that they have thought up, like an alternate reality to the story that was told. I also really like the example of 50 Shades of Grey that was brought up in the reading. Even that was a fan fiction, but it became so popular and became such a mainstream media that it became mainstream. I also really like that it basically said that 50 Shades of Grey was a catalyst for a lot of other people to start writing or start writing seriously as a career. And I think that's really nice. Fanfiction, it takes a lot of bravery to do, because everyone is different, everyone is very diverse. Even within a fandom of the same type of media, the fandom is very diverse. But I like how it encourages people to write their own stories and share their own ideas, especially within a community. And on a social level, the existence of like fan groups allows individuals to become more social and less awkward when interacting with people in the real world or with people of similar interests. So yeah, I found the first reading about fan fiction is very interesting. The second reading about fiction in general was also a really nice read. Overall, the power of fiction is amazing. People can just create things that normally can't or will never exist, and they can make it so believable that people often mistake it for real. Take video games, for example. Even the most modern games, let's say GTA, the trailers for GTA 6, or even some realistic looking games like Skyrim, they are purely works of fiction, yet they tell such a great story, and they are presented so beautifully that they seem real, and they've impacted a lot of people. Notably, for example, a lot of people who I know play Skyrim, they've taken a lot of interest in game design and environmental storytelling. And I think the power of fiction to make someone develop a interest for their entire future, I think that's very powerful. But also, fiction is kind of a double-edged sword, in my opinion. There's a lot of good fiction out there, but at the same time, all of that on the internet will cause people to want more. Good fiction takes a long time to create, but people on the internet just want to consume more, to the point where it's like a thirst for entertainment. And even in the reading, it mentioned how fictional writing only became an accepted medium after a long time, because many people just didn't accept it. But I like the fact that people do now, because it allows more people to be more creative with their works, and that opens up more ideas and more creative stories to tell, which in turn repeats the cycle and lets us keep creating. And as for the last reading about zombies, I found it was rather short, but I found the whole reading to just be a huge metaphor between the internet and people. And the metaphor could go either way. The internet could be recognized as zombies, or the people could be recognized as zombies. The reason I think that is because doom scrolling. Doom scrolling is a thing and is very prevalent in the modern age. Young teens tend to just sit on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube for hours on end, just mindlessly scrolling. And this mindless scrolling can be compared to zombies. And it's up to like the good people, or rather the people who don't doom scroll, which would be represented as the humans in the zombie apocalypse, to try and fight that doom scrolling, to provide more worthwhile content, more content that's not short form. But it could also be seen that the internet is the zombies. And I like how the reading provided a very good metaphor of this. Zombies in media, it's just a form of attrition, which basically means it's never ending until they stop or give up. And I think that perfectly encapsulates what the internet is. The internet is always expanding. It will never stop, and it's basically bottomless at this point. And it's up to the humans, us, to try to make good of the internet, try to fight back all the bad stuff on the internet, and try to make it a good place for people to browse around and hang around without having to deal with short form content or harmful media on the internet. And this concludes all three of my vlog for all three of the readings this week. And yeah.